This is Cedarwood Luxury Radio, Nigeria's first real estate radio.
This estate is very beautiful, very nice. I have good news for you. In this city of Owerri, we have very affordable land that is currently selling. This is a new estate in the city of Owerri. Guess what? This is Cedarwood City Estate, Phase 2, Obako Owerri. This estate is very sweet. Opposite our estate is Road Safety Office. That's opposite our estate. Our neighbor here is Lubos Manufacturing Company. You know what it means? Manufacturing company, they have many workers. They have up to 700 workers. I know what it means. Looking for houses to rent. You want to live somewhere close to their working place. So what it means that you need to buy this land, build and rent it out to people. But this place is buy and build. It's selling with a promo price of 5.5 million naira. Just 5.5. You'll be a landowner in this estate. And it's a stable dry land. It's trekkable from here to Obako Junction. And it's facing Onitsha Express Road. From here, you see the vehicle moving, passing. Freehold is the land title of this Cedarwood City Phase 2. So, if you're an investor and you're looking for a place to invest in the city,
at Lush City by Cedarwood here in the city of Aba, just 5 minutes off the popular Osisioma flyover. You can be this. Let me shock you now. This particular estate is just behind the Abia Polytechnic permanent site. If you are a wise investor, you will secure many plots here in Lush City because of the reason that when this school kicks off, students will look for a place to reside and lecturers will also look for apartments to stay. So this estate is also directly opposite Arab Construction Company at this Aba Owerri Express Road. You can be this. From here to Osisioma flyover is less than 5 minutes. So guys, what are you waiting for? This estate is goes for just 4.5 million naira. This is a promo price, but I bet you'll be wowed because in few weeks we are going to take this estate back to its main price, which is 6 million naira. Why not get a plot right now that is 4.5 million naira? As you can see, this is a wonderful, magnificent estate gatehouse. The property has been fenced right round already. It's 100% table dry land, and this buy and build. So as a wise investor, I will advise you rush and grab a plot right here at Lush City by Cedarwood immediately. Do you know why? Because the school is actually going to kick off very, very soon, and students are looking for places to reside. As a wise investor, secure a plot now that is still on promo. Just 4.5 million naira. A plot of 44 square meters is yours. The estate is already fenced, and this is a gatehouse, and it has been plot demarcated. We give instant allocation immediately after your payment. So guys, so what are you waiting for? Hit me now. Let's close this deal.
All right, beautiful morning to you, Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to a beautiful Wednesday morning on Nigeria's first real estate radio, Cedarwood Luxury Online Radio. My name is David, and it is such a delight, as always, to come your way Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays with amazing programs, conversations. That is what's having and worth listening to. This morning on the Morning Delight program, we want to quickly talk about something. We want to have a discussion on a topic I titled The Tragedy of Nigeria. The Tragedy of Nigeria. The Tragedy of Nigeria. Now, I'm going to play you 2 videos. We're going to have 2 videos that will be played right now. While I went over the video, I had several things. I had several thoughts. Even before the show started, I have several things, like different things. You know, I was thinking of. Had several thoughts. This particular video that you're about to watch actually opened my eyes, and that is why I want to also bring it to you so that your eyes would be open. This session this morning is not in any way aimed at spiting any form of violence, hatred, or anything, but to make us realize that as a nation, as a people, as Nigeria and Nigerians that we are, living in Nigeria, Nigerians living in Nigeria, Nigerians outside the country, for one reason or the other, we've had people leave Nigeria for the good reason, for economical reasons, for various other reasons. And when you take out time to speak with a number of them, yes, quite a few of them have left Nigeria because of the fact that, not because of the fact that, they just want to a better life and all that. But the majority of people that have left Nigeria because of the condition of things, unbearable condition of things. Yesterday, I was at Reading Town Hall meeting. Pretty amazing. It was super amazing. And real estate developers, REDAN, Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, Lagos chapter, you could, it was an opportunity for people to connect. It was an opportunity for developers to connect. It was an opportunity for people to meet, and all that. But then the highlight of that event, that town hall meeting yesterday, was the fact that developers had the opportunity to express themselves. That was when I realized a lot. That was when I realized that, man, people are going through stuff. Developers, real estate companies are really, really going through a lot. Some of them from bad decisions, some of them from majorly government policies and all that. But then, when you listen to people that have left the country, majority of them have left the country because of the bad condition, the poor condition, living condition, economical condition, financial condition, and all that. Now, the video we're about to watch, the very first one is about 4 minutes long, and the other one is 17 minutes long. We're going to take everything this morning. This, like I said, is not to bring about any form of violence. No, that is not the aim. But to make us realize who we are, what we have. And the fact that who we are and what we have is capable enough to make us not just bear the name, the giant of Africa, but truly become the giant of the whole world. But someone said something on social media that no amount of prayer can change a country with bad governance. One of the majority, or the major reason, the major cause, the main reason, one of the main reasons why Nigeria it is the way it is right now is because of bad leadership, bad decisions, and all that. We are better off so many countries, but because of what we have, because of mismanagement of what we have, we are not where we ought to be. Nigeria, Lagos State, other states in Nigeria is capable enough to be the Dubai of today, the London of today, the England of today, and mention them. We have the resources, we have the talent, we have the people, we have literally everything, everything, natural resources. And you see, we are not even suffering. The other day, we had a hurricane in Houston, flooding in Kenya some time ago, and all that. We don't suffer natural resources, disaster, and all that. We have all it takes, but we are not where we ought to be. Let's take the very first video, and then we'll proceed from there.
The tragedy of Nigeria began in 1986, when we did the structural adjustment program. When we were persuaded to devalue our currency every week for 32 years. When I went to school, and many of you are here, the Naira was $1.50. The Naira was almost £1 sterling. They came here, persuaded some brilliant men from Harvard and the World Bank that weekly devaluation was wonderful. 32 years of devaluing your currency until we hit 527. And they were still telling us that the Naira was still overvalued. That brought poverty, misery upon us. Then interest rates went to 30%. So nobody could build a factory, start a farm, produce anything, or create jobs. Because every time you bring in a shipload of rice, you also bring in a shipload of unemployment. Because you are transferring your wealth to sustain other economies. Somehow, Nigerians didn't notice it. So we became a nation of importers. Toothpicks. Each year it cost us $18 million. Importing toothpicks. Tomato paste, $400 million. So you talked about tomatoes now. One basket in town now is less than 2,000 naira. The farmers are losing money because the processors don't have enough funds to set up factories. They are going to do tomato paste. It's food-grade stainless steel. You can't just use anything because you'll be putting poison in people's stomachs. 2 factories have started off. I believe by the middle of next year, we can comfortably tell importers of tomato paste to stop. But when you do, you make enemies. Even the rice we're trying to reduce, we have enemies, heavy enemies, people who can kill if they have a chance, because you're spoiling their business. And let nobody take it lightly. These guys have seized this country's economy, they've taken us hostage, and they have no intention of giving up. Because this is a huge market, a very sweet market, and they have taken control. And I'm saying it because I have been in this business for 41 years and I can tell you some history. Abdullah Adamu is here. Import milk, sugar, toothpaste, handkerchiefs, pencils. We don't make. To cure Nigerians of that malady will take a while. It will take a strong government. That's the truth. And they are not happy that we're cutting down. When we cut down, they lose money there. So you see all sorts of publications. We're telling lies. We're not growing rice. We're trying to demoralize the local farmers and make sure that the economy fails. That's the story of imports. Now, I read a story recently in the newspapers. The French ambassador, the champagne ambassador in Nigeria, gave an article to The Guardian. He said Nigerians love life. We are the biggest consumers of champagne on planet Earth, more than the French who make it. There are parties you attend in some places where they only drink champagne. Of course, the individual is free to spend his money, but his money comes from Nigeria's commonwealth. So on imports, it will take a while for us to get used to local goods and accept that we should consume what we produce and produce what we want to consume. So I take your point. We have to take 10 measures to cut down on imports because these young boys and girls who have no jobs today are not going to allow us to carry on enjoying life at their expense. They need jobs. They need jobs. They are children. They've graduated, they've come back home to begin a second childhood because there's no factory to employ them. And the ministries can't take any more. But somebody is making sure you fail when you want to produce at home.
Somebody is making sure you fail. Somebody is making sure you fail. Before we can cure Nigeria, before we can, you see, there's a lot. The thing is, we know what to do. We have the willingness to do it. But powers that be would not allow the right things to be done the way it ought to be done. I was listening to the radio this morning before coming to work as at 5 a.m. this morning. And I said something to the person that was with me. I said, there is just something about political position. You will go into it with the right mindset. I think, the conversation was about, he said, is it the secretary or something somewhere in Kenya? It was about the Kenyan youth that they are back to the streets protesting for the step down of their president. I think either the vice or something, secretary or something like secretary general. So I can't really remember. Resigned intentionally and he made a speech, apology and all that. And I said in Nigeria, it doesn't happen, no. It's even difficult to impeach a government. You see it now. Is future past tense impossible? But Nigeria can be better. Can Nigeria be better? Yes. Can Nigeria be what it ought to be with the fact that we have everything, that we have all it takes? Yes. But who will spearhead that change? I said to the person this morning, there is just one kind of spirit. It's like there's a spirit that when you go into political position, you go there with the right mindset. But sometimes the atmosphere or powers that be will not allow. No, like I said, the aim of what we are doing this morning is to make us realize who we are, what we have, and where we ought to be, and the reason why we are not where we ought to be. The other day, a former vice president was trying to say the reason why we are where we are, and we started making jest of it. It was a funny video. It was a funny video. But you see, it is true at the end of the day. There is a reason why Nigeria is where it is today and not where it ought to be tomorrow. I mean, not where it ought to be. Let's take the second video. We'll be right back, and we'll continue saying what we want to say. Please, this session is open to every one of you. Feel free to send in your comments via the comment section, either live on Facebook or YouTube, or our WhatsApp number our WhatsApp number right there on the screen, 09133833507. We'll be right back. All right.
On the 28th of May 2023, a day before the inauguration of Nigerian President Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his wife and First Lady of Nigeria, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, said this:
Nigeria's wealth is the commonwealth of all. It belongs to everyone. God has blessed my family. We don't need the wealth of Nigeria to survive, but to do the right thing.
Now, if you don't believe her, here's some proof for you. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is said to be worth several hundreds of millions of dollars, a vast real estate holdings, as well as investments scattered around energy and a handful of other sectors of the Nigerian economy. But it's not only the president's family that has done well for themselves now. Here is Nyesom Wike, the current minister of the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. He's said to be one of the richest former governors in Nigeria. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is said to own several properties in Dubai. And there are lots of other politicians with business holdings and investments scattered around the country. This has left me wondering, if politicians are just public servants, why are they so rich and the people they serve so poor? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how these folks get to be so wealthy. We will look at the laws that have enabled some of these politicians to take advantage of the system and how this affects you, the average Nigerian. President Bola Tinubu worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Nyesom Wike worth millions of dollars. George Akume worth millions of dollars. Guess what all these men have in common? They are all career politicians who have been directly or indirectly involved in government since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999. But there's another thing all three have in common that will be very relevant to our story much later, and that is they were all former governors of their respective states for 8 years. Now, while politics in Nigeria has become something for the highest bidder, there seems to be a reason why. That could be the high returns involved. And I'm not talking about the looting or embezzlement we immediately associate with politicians now. Rather, I'm talking about the insane salaries and allowances that these people accumulate throughout their time in office. Added to all of these benefits, some politicians have also found ways to build highly profitable companies from the ground up as a result of government contracts they get while in office. And when their time is up, they also get something called a severance package that is sometimes worth 300% of their basic salaries as presidents, governors, senators, or other political office holders. Now, let's start with the salaries and you'll see what I mean. This is Tunde, an average Nigerian graduate looking for a federal government job that pays the minimum wage, just so he can afford to feed and stop depending on his poor mother, who has been catering for his basic needs ever since his father died. Tunde's worth, according to the federal government of Nigeria, is 30,000 naira. That is less than $30 for an entire month's labor. Now, to put this in perspective, it would take Tunde 50 years of saving his entire salary to get 1 year's basic salary of a Nigerian senator that earns 1.5 million naira monthly and still gets another 52 million naira in office running allowances. And what is the job of this senator again? Yes, they made the law that kept the minimum wage at 30,000 naira, while theirs is set at 1.5 million naira per month. But then something crazy happened. There's this body saddled with the responsibility of determining how much is appropriate for political office holders in Nigeria, including the president, vice president, governors, deputy governors, ministers, even commissioners, and to cap it all, the legislators inclusive. This body is known as the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Their job, among others, is to monitor the increase and disbursement of revenue from the Federation account and reviewing from time to time the amount being allocated to different things, especially salaries. What happened was that this body woke up one morning and said that they realized that Nigerian politicians were suffering too much, so they needed to adjust the salary structure to help these politicians survive the difficult times we live in. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Guess what? They proposed a 114% increase in the salaries of these political office holders, including the president, vice president, governors, lawmakers, as well as judicial office holders. Remember Tunde with his 30,000 naira per month salary? He is not getting any of this increase, even though his cost of living just shot through the roof as a result of the recent removal of fuel subsidy, which I talked about in this video linked right up here. Well, Nigerians cried out and that salary review was later abandoned. But this didn't stop the politicians from getting something called hardship allowance. You see, aside from the ridiculously high salaries paid out to Nigerian politicians every month, they also get some allowances like utilities, entertainment recess, personal assistant, vehicle fueling, duty tour, domestic staff, vehicle maintenance, constituency allowance, wardrobe allowance, household maintenance, newspaper, periodic allowances, and a lot more. For the senators, these allowances amount to 52 million naira every year. But the ridiculous wealth of these politicians didn't just come from their salaries and allowances alone. Since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, a lot of money has been allocated to something called constituency projects, recommended by these lawmakers. However, as a result of corruption, embezzlement, and other financial malpractices, these projects are not even carried out. For instance, you often hear of empowerment programs that get commissioned all the time. These items are sometimes hoarded by sponsors and not distributed until the next budget cycle, where in some cases now, the same items are rebudgeted and duplicated. In recent years, the budget of the zonal intervention projects has been 100 billion naira shared among the 469 lawmakers in the National Assembly. But the specific details on the projects, including project type, cost, and the target sector, are always kept secret. According to reports, the annual 100 billion naira is always shared on an 60-40% ratio by the two legislative chambers. The House of Representatives takes the bulk with 60 billion naira and the Senate takes 40 billion naira. This means the 360 members of the lower chamber have 60 billion to initiate, implement, or complete projects in their various constituencies, while the 109 members in the Senate have 40 billion to do the same. But the implementation is where the math changes. Only a fraction of the said amount budgeted for each chamber gets to the lawmakers. The fraction comes after a series of deductions are made. Starting with the leadership of the House now, out of the 40 billion naira budgeted for the Senate, it is said that the leadership of the chamber takes 20 billion to fund projects in their own constituencies. The remaining 20 billion goes to about 100 other members of the chamber. But You have to note here that the 20 billion naira special funding for the chamber's leadership does not exclude the said leadership from benefiting in the general fund, as they still nominate projects to be funded with the balance of 20 billion naira. Even though the projects are advertised in line with the Public Procurement Act, only contractors nominated by the lawmakers are often awarded these contracts. At times, some lawmakers nominate companies in which they have interest in, like companies belonging to friends and family members. In some cases, contractors awarded jobs only move the cash to the lawmakers' accounts, who nominated them for the contracts in the first place, and these contracts remain unimplemented. In one exclusive interview, former Nigerian Senator Shehu Sani disclosed how the constituency projects are given on a zonal basis, with almost every senator going with a constituency fund of about 200 million naira. But if the senators are not given direct access to this money, how do they benefit from the funds? One of the means used is by inflating the budget of government agencies. For instance, the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, an agency under the Ministry of Trade and Investment, had its budget upped to 14.85 billion from 11.02 billion. Similar suspicious appropriation can be seen in the budget of the Border Communities Development Agency, which is domiciled under the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Lawmakers raised the agency's budget from the 3.73 billion proposed by former President Muhammadu Buhari to 5.46 billion naira. The Independent Corrupt Practices Commission has accused these two agencies of budget overpricing as a channel for embezzling funds. In August 2019, the ICPC recovered items such as motorbikes, grinding machines, and tricycles estimated to be worth 170 million naira, stored in a compound reportedly belonging to Senator Chukwuka Utazi, who is representing Enugu North Senatorial District in Enugu State. In another instance, in 2022, a report implicated a senator representing Benue North East Senatorial District, where the project he sponsored belonged to City Science and Technical Academy, a school he owns. In Abuja, a training and empowerment program for women and youths worth over 149.9 million naira was reportedly awarded to Aljabi Integrated Nigeria Limited, but against the due process policy of the federal government, as the company is said to be owned by a certain Sokodabo Hamza, a relative of the sponsoring lawmaker. In a similar case of abuse of office, a contract worth 199.9 million naira was said to have been awarded to Sinti Nigeria Limited by the Sokoto Rima Basin Authority in November 2020. It was later found that the company belongs to the sponsor of the project, a certain Jibri Barrel of Kano Senatorial District. Now, in most constituencies across the country, voters have been brainwashed by their representatives into believing that constituency projects such as roads, water projects, electricity distribution, and a whole lot of others are being personally funded by these lawmakers, contrary to the fact that constituency and other projects are actually funded by the government with public funds. And when they are done using the public money to award multi-million-dollar contracts to companies owned by their friends and loved ones, at the end of their term in office, these politicians are able to secure their financial future by connecting a pipe to the national treasury through something called severance package. Holding a political office in Nigeria allows one to be paid for a lifetime. As approved by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, political office holders are entitled to 300% of their annual salary as a severance package. In addition, some ex-governors will be paid 100% of their annual basic salary for life after leaving office. Remember that current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State, and there are several other former governors serving in the current administration. So here's the deal. They all have a pension for life, but they are not alone. The large severance packages for the president, vice president, state governors, legislators, and other political appointees that left office in May 2023 was put at a whopping sum of 63.45 billion naira. This was money paid by the Nigerian government to people leaving office. According to this revenue mobilization body, the former President Buhari will get a severance pay of 10.5 million naira, while former Vice President Osinbajo will receive 9.09 million. The 8 special advisors in the presidency are expected to get 5.8 million naira each, totaling 46.64 million naira. They would also get new cars every 3 years, a house in any part of the country, free medical care, as well as furniture allowance and car maintenance allowance. They are also entitled to cooks, stewards, gardeners, and other domestic staff, among other perks, including policemen and Department of State Services operatives for life. According to civil society group Serap, there are governors collecting life pensions as former governors while also serving in the Senate and still getting paid as senators. About 14 ex-governors who are current senators are entitled to double pay as a result of this. Some of these former governors were also said to have enacted laws for their extravagant funeral ceremonies, that is, when they die. And this is why these Nigerian politicians are so damn rich. But how does this affect you, the average Nigerian? On June 30th, 2023, the Debt Management Office announced Nigeria's public debt of 87.38 trillion naira. That is $113 billion. The figure represents an increase of 75.29% or 37.53 trillion naira compared to the 49.85 trillion naira recorded at the end of March 2023. This further highlights the state of Nigeria's economy. There are very few well-equipped hospitals to serve over 200 million citizens. But these politicians, even those out of office, still get medical allowance to allow them to travel to good hospitals with specialists abroad, while the average Nigerian is left to his fate. Security in the country is so poor that a sitting senator is threatening to resign. What becomes of the average Nigerian that doesn't have access to state resources to employ the services of police escorts or DSS to follow them about? Inflation is extremely high as the naira has lost over 40% of its value in 2023 alone. Nigerians can barely afford to buy onions to cook their meals. Now, if the people cannot eat, cannot go out, and keep dying from poor medical services, why are the few in control of the nation's resources allowed to keep enriching themselves in this manner? I guess I'll never know. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it interesting, do well to check out this one showing up on your screen right now, and I'll see you inside.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So we've heard it all. I'm so speechless. But then I got to realize something while I was, looking at the video again, watching the video again, it's as if I've not even seen the video at all. Because, it baffles me every time I see that video over and over and over and over again. And you might have to even go back and just rewatch it. And maybe one of these days we'll have a repeat broadcast of this session this morning. Did you realize something? From the very first video to the other one that I played. None of the politicians, in everything that they are doing, brought in tribal or religious sentiments. I have not seen political leaders, when it is time to do what they are doing, when it is time to embezzle, when it is time to siphon, when it is time to redirect, when it is time to do what they know how to do best, tribal and religious sentiment doesn't come in. But you, the citizens, when it is time for you to vote the right people into office, when it is time for you to come together, when it is time for you to fight against a cause, come together to achieve something, when it is time for you to come together as a body, as a people, to unite, religion and tribal sentiment begins to play out. Fully finds expression. The other day, trending on Twitter recently is the fact that, people trying to come together to organize a protest because of bad governance and all that. And somebody said something. Take your protest to so and so place. Take your protest to so and so place. Don't bring it to Lagos. Don't bring it to the Southwest. Who do you think you are? Because of who? Because of what? Because you are who? When it is time for citizens to come together and unite, look at what Kenyans are doing. But Nigerians, when time don't reach, where we're supposed to come together, tribalism and religion go find expression. That is why we would continue where we are. That is why we would continue having leaders that would continue to take this country down the drain every 4 years. We can never, ever be the great nation that we ought to be with the resources, talents, intelligence, and everything that we have. We can never get there. If the foundation is destroyed, even the righteous cannot do anything. Sometimes I begin to ask myself, these people that support bad thing, is it that the cost of living is not affecting them? Is it that they are not being affected? Is it not the same? Are we not under the same? Not be the same country we did. Not be the same poor, unbearable condition and everybody they face. But bigots with award, Bigot the Year award. So many of them have millions of Bigot the Year awards. With these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince every one of you and not to confuse you that Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria is a great country. We have all it takes to be great. But we cannot be great if you see, there's a saying that says there's a drop of greatness on the inside of you. But we cannot be great if we continue to do the wrong things. If we continue the way. If we continue this way. No. We are not going anywhere. And funny enough, we've been having, these kind of conversations long time ago. But then, until we are tired, I mean, we are like chameleons. We adapt. Nigerians are good adapters. We are naturally endowed with the spirit and ability to adapt and endure. Yes, it is in our blood. But then, until we are tired and we are ready to get things right, we know what to do. Keeping aside tribalism, religion, coming together as a people, uniting together. United we stand, divided we fall. Until then, we will continue to fall. We'll be back again at 1 p.m. for the Real Estate in Nigeria program. We're working towards having some things. Let me just leave it. Not now. But then We'll be back again at 1 p.m. for real estate in Nigeria. And this time around, we'll have a guest, a PBO in the P1 group, a young lady who is a realtor. She came into Lagos from Asaba. She's based in Asaba, came into Lagos from Asaba and, honored our invitation. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll be back again and see you again at 1 p.m. for real estate in Nigeria. My name is David, and we're Nigeria's first real estate radio, Cedarwood Luxury Online Radio.
Information, they say, is key. And by key, do well to join us every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. live on Facebook and on YouTube. We are Cedarwood Luxury Online Radio, Nigeria's first real estate radio.
When love blooms in your hearts, the clouds become pink, heavy rains reduce to mild drizzles, the sun dims to dull orange, and your whole life becomes a special genre of music.
Obi, you are the very bright in my thoughts. If you're into mine, I'm not sure.
When love blooms in your hearts, your significant other becomes the fulcrum of your life. So you want to do something amazing with them each day, like taking warm strolls at Billionaires Resort by Cedarwood, where you've since chosen for home.